Today, the intuitives, Debbie and Nikki, show you how to make your own special blend of relaxing incense. Plus, join Debbie and Nikki as they stock up on some of their favorite crystals. Then, they put the crystals to work as they do a crystal grid layout for a young single mother.
Debbie, you and I do so many house cleansings that I think it's time that we explain to people how to make a basic house cleansing incense.
Awesome.
Yes, I've got all my basic ingredients here. Making your own incense isn't complicated at all. The only thing that you need are the mortar and pestle to grind up your ingredients. You need a bowl with some charcoal rocks and some sand as a heat diffuser. And then, of course, very basic stuff, your white buffalo sage, your rosemary, your lavender, and some base. So I always start with the most coarse ingredient. I'm going to actually just dump a little bit in. You don't need a lot. Because I had it all in. Let me take a little bit out.
My arm's going to be sore.
The reason why I like to crush up the ingredients is because I'm always focusing my intent as I do it. You can be a traditionalist and do it this way, but you can also be the modern person and actually go and buy a little coffee grinder.
Admit it, that would be me. I have my coffee grinder and I love it because I put my intent in after I've created my stuff. But I mean, there is something to be said for all the love and connection that you do when you're grinding it up by hand. I'm time sensitive.
You are time sensitive. I like to just do it in my own way, and that's what makes us so unique, is we find what works for us and follow it. The next ingredient we can add is sage. I'll just add a little bit. Your arm's going to be sore after this.
It is going to be sore. I'm used to my coffee grinder. I love my coffee grinder. Especially for the harder material.
Well, you're right. And I have to admit, this particular smudge does take some time. So you're very brave.
But the end result is amazing. To have all these aspects brought into a home, clearing out all that negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
You can also follow your smudges.
I didn't want that piece. It's not meant to be in here.
You can also create your blends by watching the moon cycles. Some people are really into that. Mm-hmm. For example, when the moon is waning, this is a time of decrease, or the dark of the moon where there is none at all. These are actually the best times to create mixtures where you're wanting to get rid of issues or blockages in your life. So actually, whenever the moon wanes, I make this particular blend.
Nice.
Let's add our lavender.
Okay, you can put lots of that in there.
Can I? Okay. Let's just do it.
We all like calming and peace and...
Well, you can never have enough of that.
So good.
You're doing a really great job.
Thanks.
Actually, lavender is my favorite to put in the mortar and pestle. It's kind of a rich spice.
Mm-hmm. Mixed up a little bit.
You're doing really well.
Starting to mold together a little.
It is. We can add our willow now. It's kind of fluffy. I won't use a lot of this because that one gets pretty messy.
It's very grounding.
It is. You know, I love willow. I like working with the trees because it just connects you back to that ancient language. The trees know all.
They do.
May all things be revealed to us.
I love when you look at a tree and it just seems to have so much information. And then you bring it into your home and into your life through different techniques.
That's right.
This is definitely one of them.
The roots are just as important too. I mean, there's so many different roots to choose from. Orris root, which we can add next, is probably one of the hardest roots to break down. So I admit, time sensitive too. I buy it already pre-powdered.
I'm okay with it. I really am.
The pagans actually use this to bring in love. And actually it heals family tensions as well. And in times of deep mourning or cycle changes, you can sprinkle this even in your doorstep.
Very
and it'll
nice.
redirect the energy.
Well, and it just everything you say, every little piece brings in another aspect. And we're now bringing in the love, removing that negative energy again.
That's right.
So it's great.
It's beautiful. You've done a great job. I'm impressed.
It's getting there.
Well, thankfully we have the final version. I think this was a version that I made probably about 2 months ago. When you do incense, it'll actually last a really long time. So let's show people how to actually use this. I'm going to be grabbing my pot here. So when you're working with a charcoal rock, you actually don't need to use the whole piece. One half of a charcoal rock will actually light for about, oh my goodness, it'll smolder for about 2 hours, just this particular piece. It gets incredibly hot. So be careful when you're working with it. Just going to take my fabulous lighter and light the tip. You want to burn.
I love the little sparks.
It's so much fun. Isn't that amazing? Perfect. Takes a little bit of time. So once your charcoal rock is lit, this is the perfect time to actually sprinkle on your incense and your base. So I'm just going to grab this. I'm cheating. I'm using a metal spoon. Please forgive me. I'm just going to take some. You don't need a lot. And I'm just going to sprinkle it on the rock.
So why should you not be using a metal spoon?
Because they say that if you use metal,
with
it'll
the
actually
intent.
alter the intent. You know, I think it's what you make it. I'm not going to panic if I don't use, or if I do use a metal spoon. Oh, woo!
We're smoking now.
Take it in.
Wow, that's nice.
That is one of my favorite recipes.
That's great.
It'll last a really long time. This particular blend that we just made will probably last 2 months. Cover your whole house a couple of times. Should we go smudging?